I love talking about technology because, you know, technology has influenced the way business has been conducted, and more importantly, how consumers experience whatever it is that has to do with either the transaction or the agent. Technology can either enable a better, more delightful experience, or it can sometimes dehumanize it. So the people that we have coming up today, I'm really excited to announce. Why don't we bring out all four of them, all four of our panelists here. So we have Shelly Kofini from Bid My Listing. Yeah, guys, and if you haven't met Bid My Listing, their booth out there and what they're doing is pretty impressive. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm like, where am I going to sit? I'll sit over here. We have Justin Benson here from Barra Agency. We have Bryson Taggart from Open Door. Wow. Okay, yeah, you win, all right. Well, hold on. We have Andrew Altman from Open to Close. So I'm really excited to have you guys here because technology is something that, again, is just so prevalent in the real estate industry. It's like if you don't have it, you're missing out. And each one of you solve very specific problems, right? So we have transaction problems, we have consumer-facing problems, again, listers and agents, and then you help, you know, agents and teams. But ultimately, every single one of you play a huge role in the way that consumers have an experience, right? So instead of me talking about you, why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us about your company, just real quick, 30 seconds.
This side?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I am CEO of Bar Agency. Basically, the thing that we solve is fragmentation. So we're essentially a fractional CTO agency for real estate teams. So as technical complexity grows in the real estate space, the need to have it all integrated together increases more and more and more, opposed to having this triple enter, because you need all the tools. The reality is that you do actually need them. You can't centralize it into one thing. That's literally impossible, right? So how do we solve the in between to make sure that real estate teams and agents and operational staff and lenders and title companies can stay on the same page through the entire transaction in a myriad of kind of custom ways that really are bespoke for the way that that specific team operates. So we build a lot of the custom stuff to make that happen.
Yeah, thank you. And if you don't know, I mean, he's working with some of the most productive teams literally in the world, you know, and these panelists, most of them didn't know each other before we met behind stage, but they all knew people. They all had mutual friends in common. And it's not that it's a small world. It's just that when you're operating at a really high level, you know, all of you guys, like, there's only one degree of separation, right? So thank you, Justin. Shelly.
Yeah. So I am the Chief Strategy Officer for Bid My Listing. So we're a prop tech platform. How I describe this to agents, which is why you guys are here to learn about these cool tools, is that we're a matchmaking marketplace. So we launched a year ago with the notion that we wanted to own the seller relationship and drive that opportunity back to the agent population. And so what we do is we identify sellers that are ready to sell, so you know they have intent. They publish their listing opportunity on our platform, and then the agents compete for that listing opportunity by competitively bidding. So instead of buying leads from other sources that you might nurture over 12 months, you can deploy the marketing funds directly on our platform, and at the end of the 7-day marketplace, if the seller has selected you as the agent, our system schedules a walkthrough. If there's chemistry, you walk away with a signed listing agreement. So for agents, we're collapsing time and allowing you to control your marketing spend. And for sellers, we've digitized the kitchen table, right? We're allowing for sellers to now interview multiple agents in one dashboard and be able to make an informed choice from that.
Yeah, I love that. And if you haven't heard of Bid My Listing, it's because you're fairly new to the market. I mean, you raised over $20 million within the last 12 months, right?
Yes.
So.
And we're coming to Phoenix.
We're coming to Phoenix. So I can see there might be a billboard campaign that might beat 72 sold here in the near future.
Tinder for real estate.
Tinder for real estate.
So we are a matchmaking platform, and one of my early statements is that we can guarantee a match. We can't guarantee that it will consummate into a marriage with a white picket fence, right? So yes, we are coming to Maricopa County, and we're super excited to work with agents here. Again, it's a new way for agents to meet sellers. and really compress that time.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you. Bryson, so if you've been living under a rock and don't know what Open Door is, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Open Door?
So, hello, I'm Bryson. I am in charge of strategic partnerships with agents at Open Door. And, just like you mentioned, I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with Open Door, who we are and what we do. But the quick snapshot is our whole vision is to turn the transaction into a seamless digital experience. And what we're here to talk about today is turning this into a transaction that you can help your client facilitate. Because I think something kind of admittedly that is a misconception out there is that Open Door is here to like wipe your agents out, we want to kick you to the curb and take over and rule the world. But in reality, I promise you, this is my job. I want to keep my job. We're here to work and partner with you so that you can bring this option to your clients and be the hero that makes the transaction seamless and digital. So I'm super pumped to talk about that today.
Awesome, thank you, yeah. And then we have Andrew Altman with Open to Close. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm Andrew Altman. I'm the COO of Open to Close. And basically, what we really focus in on is the middle part of the transaction. So listing to close, contract to close, we're automating that piece. So we think we can get it to about 95 to 98% automated over time. And we're just taking away that, Justin mentioned like double, triple entry throughout systems. We have a really good API, and so we're trying to connect, but the all-in-one, in my opinion, is going away. And really good people that you can bolt onto each other well, that's where we're really focused.
I love it. So our panel is full of, I would say, a lot of diversity in regards to the touch points of a transaction and touch points of an experience. So as it relates to your industry and your businesses, I want to talk about what problems are you solving specifically and how it relates to the consumer experience. Because I think consumers ultimately, like, sure, we're the judge of the business, but the consumer is the jury and the executioner. So if the consumer isn't buying into the agent, whatever you're presenting, whatever experiences that they're having, we've kind of failed, right, as the stewards of our business. So talk about the problems that you're solving as it relates to the consumer experience, if you can. And let's just keep it going in order. And honestly, listen, this is conversational, right? So we're just hanging out. I feel like we're just hanging out, like, literally on a stage. So, yeah, it's couch time. I love it.
Oh man, the problems that we're solving. I mean, on the consumer side, right, I got good at building technology in real estate because I was a part of the tech industry before building a couple big real estate teams. So I know what it's like to sell tons of houses and scale a team into 3 states and sell thousands of houses and do that whole thing, right? But I got freaking sick of being the agent that was like stressed out, like sweating through my shirt because I'm like in a house showing somebody and I just got 7 more showing requests and a seller needs to respond to an offer right away and this other guy just texted me and said he's got an offer to write and I know that thing's going to go under contract in 6 seconds, so like what the hell do I do? And you just get in your car and cry, actually. Honestly, or you do what I did and you flip your laptop up and start typing a purchase contract while driving a vehicle while calling a lead at the same time, right?
That's not safe.
Yeah, that's not, I didn't do that. I'm just kidding, right? Yeah. The reality, the problem that we're solving, and I'd like coach our clients on this, like automation, integrations, all this stuff, it's like cold and heartless if there's not a good why behind it. And the real reason why is that when I was known on a real estate team, we wanted our agents to pay attention to the person that was transacting on the most expensive thing that they would buy in their entire life, right? And pay attention to the details, like a case study would be one of our agents saw that a single mom was coming with her daughter, and her daughter was dressed up as like a ballerina every single time they showed up, right? So as a closing gift, he decided to get them front row tickets to a ballet and a night out and, kind of coordinated everything, a limo to pick them up. It was really awesome. And that mom called us crying on the phone because you would have thought that we like saved her daughter from being run over by a vehicle kind of thing, right? But we touched on the reason why she's buying a house. She's starting life over. She cares about this child more than anything, and she's creating a future with that person, right? You cannot pay attention to that if you're not present with the person that's in front of you, right? So let's use technology to offload the stuff that keep us from being human to human.
So I think for us, it's really 2 things that we're zeroing in on. And the first one isn't the obvious one, which is in a world that we live in where everything is becoming digital, right? We as humans become products, right? We've got the Facebook and the Google of the world that if I want to buy Nike shoes, I see Nike everywhere I go, right? Because they track me down.
Yeah, we like her shoes. If you haven't seen her shoes, you should check them out.
They're snappy.
They're so sick.
So the first thing was, could we put the seller back in control of the most valuable asset they have, which is the listing opportunity, and allow for them to monetize that? And I know from an agent perspective, I am one, right, as well as a strategy officer, right, that sounds off-putting, but we're not going into your farm that you've been farming for 20 years. We're identifying deals that may not surface for you. We're getting probate, we're getting FSBOs, we're getting expireds, because these sellers didn't have a good experience, and they're looking for an agent and don't know where to start. So helping that seller monetize and value that listing opportunity is the first thing. The second thing is, right, we're a two-sided marketplace. So we want to drive tools and technology for our agent population, right? So in as much as we're catering to sellers in that entire ecosystem, we spend as much time and effort catering to our agents and what can we do to help you grow your practice? What are the things you guys need? And we'll find those partners and deliver them up to you. And so those are the two things that we're really zeroing in.
Yeah, I love that. I want to just ask you another really quick two-parter because we've had conversation with this, and I think this is important. So for agents who are bidding on listings, are you seeing that you are getting, like the average listing opportunity is lower? Are you seeing like a 6% listings or 4%? I mean, how are they competing? And like,
Right.
Are we kind of diminishing and diluting the value?
So great point. Obviously, we have a lot of...
Short answer, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We have a lot of litigation dancing around real estate agents' commissions right now, right? There's a lot of litigation. And so at first blush, you would think, well, that sellers just want the best deal, the cheapest commission, and that's actually not the case. So we are gathering data on every marketplace that we close about what influences the choice that the seller is making when we line them up against each agent's profile. And so the way that agents bid on our platform is they bid a cash incentive, their commission structure, and their listing duration, as well as all of the things, much like a Tinder profile, that you want that seller to know, right? Here's the thing. Our average commission across the nation is holding at about 5.5%. So sellers are smart enough to know that cheaper isn't better,
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That they're looking for qualified agents that are experts in their marketplace that can respond to their needs, right? It isn't necessarily about the cash up front or the commission structure, but the combination and the profile,
Yeah.
right? And so I know that I get teased for saying this. We've digitized the kitchen table,
Yep.
right? In a way that sellers don't have to meet with 10 agents now. They can do that through our platform and make an informed choice.
I love it. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the direct answer. Bryson.
So, I'm going to tell a quick little story to talk about the problems that we're solving both for consumers and agents at Open Door. Fun fact for anyone who doesn't know, I myself am a licensed realtor, and back when I was in production in 2017, I had a client approach me, and it was a 1,200 square foot house. They had 5 kids and 2 dogs. If you ever sold a house over by Mesa High, right off the 60 and Stapley, it's over in that area, right? And they came to me and they're like, we want to sell our house, but we're going to need like 5 hours notice for a showing, and they can only do showings on Saturday from like 3 to 6. And I was like, okay, cool, excellent. This is going to be so easy. And at the time, I wasn't as familiar with the product of Open Door, but I said, you know what, let's check it out. Let's look into this and see what this is. So I went on for my clients, went to opendoor.com, grabbed them a cash offer, and presented it to them and said, hey guys, this isn't bad. Like, I'm surprised here. This is a pretty good cash offer. And they ended up accepting the offer. We closed 36 days later, no showings, no hassle. And so I tell you that story because what we're trying to solve for the consumer is a simple, convenient transaction that brings control back to the seller in a transaction, as well as you, the agent, get to be the hero that brings them this tool. Because, I will tell you something. Brittany was her name, and she was like, Bryson, thank you so much. I would have never been able to find this on my own. And what that told me is that they're going to remember the work I did for them. And because I had this tool, I'm solving a problem that I didn't have the ability to go ahead and purchase that home really quick and get it off the market and, no inspections, no appraisals, simply just say, here's a cash offer and I back it. It's a really powerful tool. Something that I think is a stat, by the way, if anyone's taking notes or writing something down, write this down. This is crazy. We've just been looking at recent data. If you go back to 2019 and you look at agents who are requesting offers and representing multiple sellers in transactions, meaning they have come back to Opendoor, that number has increased 9x in 4 years. What that tells me is that our product is good, it's easy, and it works not only for the consumer, but for the agent. Remember, that number, 9x, is agents who are bringing back clients to Opendoor after their first transaction because the process was so smooth for them. So what we're trying to solve, a simple, clean, convenient transaction that you have the control, that you as the agent get to facilitate on behalf of your seller.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right? I mean, come on.
I got to get better fans.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm going to say something really embarrassing. My mother is in the audience. My mother is
Okay.
By the way, I met your mother. She's
you go.
awesome.
Yeah, she's, if you're looking for a title rep, Old Republic title, there you go.
Okay. I love that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it was just to piggyback off what, me and Bryson were talking down in the green room a little bit about if you're not going to your listing appointments with 5+ offers, you are missing the boat. I think this is something we did really early before we even found Opendoor, was we would go in and become a consultant. There's no more, are you going to be my agent? It's which plan are we going to go with? It's here's a wholesale deal, here's a cash deal, here's an Opendoor deal, here's a regular retail deal, and here's how much we can get you. Now, where do we go from here? And so when you come in as a consultant like that, you get the listing 90% of the time. So just a little piggyback to what he said. For us, at Open to Close, I think, we're really focused on the inefficiencies in the transaction. There's just so many inefficiencies in a transaction. There is so much double, triple everything in our industry.
Yeah, it's never really that much fun as a
No.
buyer, like buying a house and going through that process.
Yeah.
Like you try to make it as fun as possible, but
Try to make this
it's a pain in the
seamless and
ass.
stress-free as possible
Yeah.
at least. But I think where it comes down to is what we're stepping into now is not only making it easy for the agent and the transaction coordinator, but taking it a step further to the client where we can take the transaction process for the client and make it a part of their everyday life. We don't want them to have to go to a system and log in. We don't want them to have to check their email 50 times during the day. We want to start throwing push notifications at certain times, start using machine learning to do things in the transaction. So it just becomes more a part of the agent, transaction coordinator, and client's daily habits, so it's not so frustrating and stressful.
I love that. Yeah, and that kind of bleeds into my next question. I want to talk a little bit about AI because, of course, we can use AI to write our property descriptions, but that seems like, that reminds me of like my 3-year-old learning how to like draw with watercolors because, AI is so much more powerful than that. So I'm curious, like, how do you see AI integrating into your verticals? How do you think that will affect the consumer? Do your companies have plans? He had to go through like a PR briefing because he's, and I love that. Sorry, hopefully I didn't throw
All
you
my
under the
secrets
bus.
are getting spilled today.
But I will tell you, yeah, I know.
I can't
Thanks,
wait to
Mom.
hear about those.
But no, I'm really curious about the AI portion because cool, yeah, ChatGPT, and we can use it as a virtual writing assistant to write blogs and descriptions. But like, no, like in all seriousness, how do you think that AI is going to impact your industry and the consumer experience?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts on this, but I'll try to keep it short.
Yeah, we got 12 minutes.
Yeah, we got 12 minutes. So essentially, we're in the midst of an industrial revolution again, basically, where industry went overseas and we became knowledge workers in America, basically. Now, we've invented a technology that can do a better job at most of that knowledge work than even humans can. I mean, that telescope they put in the sky, that's analyzed with machine learning, not with a human eye anymore, and it does better than a human could ever dream of doing it, and at lightning speed, right? The cool thing of that is that I view a future where the economics of previously service-based companies could never scale to the heights that a SaaS-based product company could because of the human capital that's necessary to do it. But this will be the first time in human history that that little hurdle goes away, and service-based companies can actually rise to a larger degree than even SaaS companies, right? So I think that moving into the future, like, I don't own a lawnmower, I have a guy that owns a lawnmower and mows my lawn for me, right? We start seeing more of those kinds of service. We see it already with different brokerages and things like that, but like the world where, I don't know, we use open to close, we employ open to close a whole lot in the transaction process, right? A world where I don't actually own the technology anymore. I pay somebody that has the technology and it's just done for me completely, right? And that's a scary world when you're thinking about real estate agents, but the real estate agent, it can't automate the like face-to-face interaction. It will free up real estate agents to do what we do best and add value back to a real estate agent opposed to taking them away from it.
Yeah, that's a really smart answer.
That is the point. Yeah, that is.
You can just throw your mic down on the ground if you
Drop
want.
the mic.
Okay. Shelley.
So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a Chat GPT junkie. I spend a lot of time on there. And what I'm using it for is testing theories and strategy, right? Which isn't where you would normally go. But it's like, hey, I have this idea about, right? And so it's been super helpful giving me insights. What I'm excited about for the real estate industry when we talk about AI, which we just talked about a couple of companies, is there's so many new tools and technology that's surfacing to make real estate agents' jobs easier, right? Where you can, you nailed it, right? Focus on the customer. And so things like List Assist or Agently, like these really cool AI-driven tools. I just tested one last week, which is called Plunk. And it's a AVM model that's mind-boggling for people that want to know what their house is worth, right? And it's just a really cool tool. So I think that we're over the next 2 or 3 years, you guys' jobs will become so much easier because technology is going to take some of that lift.
Yeah, but the human element will never, ever
No.
be replaced,
This
right?
is a
Like,
relationship
we're in a
business.
relationship-based business.
Yeah.
It's all about building rapport. So I love that. Thoughts?
You know, I think when you look at technology, whether it's AI or any type of new technology, and you are a business owner, you have to ask yourself, how does this support my consumers or my customer base? Is this going to make their life better? If I implement this technology into my business, will my business become better serving to my customers? And you know, something that many of you may not know, Open Door's first key pillar as a company is start and end with the customer. So whenever we're looking at new technology, that's the first question. And you know, ever since 2014, in various capacities, you know, Open Door has implemented, you know, AI and machine learning, whether it be pricing, transaction management, but you know, it's something we're very familiar with. And whenever you can take the idea of new technology and marry it with fantastic customer experience, it's something you gotta try. Because when you're able to say, we've taken a new technology and made the process better for the consumer, that's a win for everyone.
Yeah, it's like this healthy balance, this integration of the two. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point to say, you know, we're not trying to take the agent or the TC, in my case, out of the transaction. We're trying to give them more time to perform a better service, to be more belly to belly with the client, to get referrals, to be able to use that innate sense of what they already know, that this transaction is going bad, and I need to step in. If you're inundated with minutia all day, you don't have the brain capacity or the energy to realize what's happening behind the scenes sometimes. And so I think it's really important, whether you're 8 or 80, you need to educate yourself on AI. I think the gap, we talked about this, the gap between corporations and agents is going to widen if you don't educate yourself and partner yourself with technologies that can, technologies that can handle this AI for you.
I love that. All right, so we've only got a few minutes left. I want to talk about just any sort of missed opportunities that you think that agents, you know, just might not even be aware of, right? It's like, what questions, like, what don't I know? What should I know? And this doesn't have to be a plug for you. Just generally speaking, how are agents kind of missing the boat sometimes with technology, and what can they do?
Oh, man.
That's a really good question for you, because, I mean, this is what you do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, missing the boat with technology is an interesting phrase to begin with, because I often tell agents, like, focus less on technology up front and just go sell a bunch of houses, because that's what builds a real estate company primarily, right?
And that's a sufficient answer.
Like,
I love that.
But, like, the technology
Do
doesn't
work.
leverage you in a way to be able to be at a higher volume without incurring more costs, basically. And AI is going to increase the way that you can do that as a service-based company, essentially. So if you don't do that, then people will scale past you, is the problem, right? Because it's inevitable that that will happen. So I would love to see solo agents get to a place where they can do 100 transactions a year without losing their family along the way.
So in a way, you're saying a missed opportunity is for new agents who are bogged down with too many technology opportunities, and they're not even, at a point where they need it, right? Okay, I like that.
I think, for most real estate agents, and, I do a lot of speaking and coaching, and a lot of agents are just technology averse. Like, I don't have the time for that, right? Or I don't want to spend time trying to learn something new. And I would say that there are tools out there that are worth taking on, because they will dramatically scale your business. And you don't have to be the expert. That's where you bring in assistants and partners, right, to assist you with that, because the business is changing, and it is becoming even more digitized, right, even in the currency space. And so understanding where those trends are and leveraging technology to take advantage of it.
I love that.
When I think about what are we missing when we're not implementing this new technology, in particularly in the agent space, some of the things that come to my mind are agents that are super successful run towards new technology. How can this strengthen my business? How can this free up more of my time so that I can use my time to more effectively drive to get more clients, new business, or spend time with your family? Running towards new technology, new tools. I'm going to say a couple closing type statements right here. Is number one, if you've ever been afraid of Opendoor being your competition, if you show up with a cash offer when you're meeting a seller, we have transitioned from your competition to a tool in your tool belt. You should never be afraid of new tools. Because something we were talking about earlier, this is my favorite line, this might be on my tombstone someday, is as an agent, when you show up with the options, the conversation changes from, are you going to hire me, to what are you going to hire me to do? Show up with options, and I promise you, it's a win for you because you get the business, you get paid. By the way, if you don't know, at Opendoor, we pay you as a buyer of homes, we pay the listing agent a commission. You win because you get paid. Your seller wins because they get an easy, convenient transaction. We win because we get to buy a house. In partnership, that's called a win-win-win. Very rare, and I'm excited that we have that opportunity to bring that option to you.
I need to hire your PR prep people.
Yeah, I know, right? They got some good answers there.
Not that polished.
He has sound bites.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, to kind of piggyback off what he said, I think it's important to, you don't have to be the expert in everything, right? You can buy back your time with smart people. And it doesn't have to be US-based people. It could be VAs. I have VAs that are way smarter than I am that they probably do more work in a day than I do, for sure. But if you haven't read the book, Buy Back Your Time, I highly suggest that book, because it's going to leverage ways to hire people to take your, lowest revenue driving opportunities and giving them to someone that can handle that probably better than you. So I think that's something everyone needs to do, is buy back their time so they can have more time with family and friends.
I love that. So technology to afford time to do what's important. Well, we've got a few more minutes. If there's anything you guys want to close with before we take a break, the floor is open. I really appreciate your guys' time, and I thought that it was really important that I brought you on to talk about technology, because you're learning all sorts of strategies, but to me, technology is a tool, it's a component that allows us to do more, right? It amplifies the things that we're good at, but you know, if you're not good at that, you need to meet and align with people like these, you know, and companies that are pushing the envelope.
You know, there's one more thing I forgot that I want to say, and I truly mean this, by the way. We are constantly at Open Door looking to improve. There's about 4 or 5, 6 of us running around here. Most of us have Open Door shirts on. If you see us and you have a suggestion, idea, something we can do to make the process better for you and your consumer, please meet with us, tell us your ideas. You can find me on LinkedIn, whatever. You know, we want to improve our business for you. So please, if you have a suggestion, come find us.
So I would probably close with this, right? Our jobs as real estate professionals is really about 2 things. It's about being seen and getting found, right? And so you can leverage technology to do those 2 things. Clearly, we've created a dating platform for that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think you've coined that. Like I'm expecting to see that
Right.
kind of narrative on
But
the
it is
advertisements.
about being seen and getting found, right?
Yep. I love that.
No, thanks for putting this together, man. For real. I love environments like this. You're only one relationship away from like transforming your business. You know, we meet new friends
Yes.
and new connections happen, new doors open, new opportunities happen. So make sure you meet some new people out there as well.
Same here. Super thankful for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Anything you want to close with?
No, just I would stress to find good partners that can take some of that stuff off your plate. You don't have to be everything. You know, spend more time with family. Get a plan in place and hire inexpensive people to help you with your daily activities.
Yep. I love that. Well, listen, thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.